So Julian Alvarez has been linked with Arsenal, with Barcelona, with PSG all summer long, right? And this week, he quietly did his fitness work from a beach in Ibiza and reported back to Atletico Madrid's training right on schedule. I've got that move at about 25%, a 1 in 4 chance. Because here's my thinking. If a player is really trying to force a move, they do not return to the club they're trying to leave. Most of the time. At least, they don't. Reports tell you what somebody wants you to think, behavior tells you what's actually kind of happening, and this week, those two things are telling different stories. So, let's rate the likelihood of some transfers. A quick thing first, because this is the episode 1 of the series, and I want to be clear about what this show actually is. Also, welcome back to my parents' garden, guys. It's been a while since we've been here, but every rumor I cover gets a number. That's my call, not a report, not something I'm passing along. My opinion. 0 to 14% chance, we'll say Bennett, fabricated or not worth listening to. 15 to 34% chance, agent distortion. Agents trying to force something to happen, whether it's a renewal through fake interest from other clubs or forcing a move away for their client. 35 to 59% chance, we call that real but stuck, a stuck deal at the time of recording. 60 to 84% chance, we'll call it a live deal and very likely. And finally, 85% to 100%, I mean the ink's drying. It's the ink's drying tier. And so every number gets revisited the following week, and at the deadline, I publish the whole record, including the ones I got embarrassingly wrong. I won't run away from it. Especially those ones. I'm sure those are the ones you want to see. So put your own numbers in the comments. Try to do it before I give mine, because I know that some of you out there will have a better record than me. That's for sure. It's just averages, you know? We have the rumor mill section, moves on the brink, and moves that are done deals. And I'll try to find some common threads or themes as well. So guys, the rumor mill. Let's start with the biggest one, at least what could be the biggest one fee-wise. Bradley Barcola. Now, Liverpool have bid again, and PSG have said no twice. The first bid was around 105 million euros with add-ons, rejected. Then a follow-up somewhere near 115, which was widely expected to go exactly the same way. And PSG, they apparently want north of 150 million. Now, that is not haggling. That's not two clubs 40 million apart who will meet in the middle over a coffee and a baguette, or a croissant, a coffee and a croissant, I'd say. That is two clubs who fundamentally disagree about what this player is, which, keep that in mind, because later on we've got Ferran Torres, where both sides are saying the same number, and you'll see how different those two situations, or these two situations, feel. Here's what makes this one interesting, though, and it's not really the cash, although that is interesting. Liverpool have already done the hard part. Barcola wants to come. He's reportedly agreed personal terms. He's in the final 2 years of his contract at PSG, and he's frustrated. This is a guy who did not start either of PSG's 2 Champions League final wins. He's been a super sub at a club winning everything, so you can see why he'd want out. Gonzalo Ramos had even less playing time, and he left for a big fee to be the main man in Italy. Normally, we're at a moment where a deal will tip over and get done. Player agreed, player pushing, selling club folds, except PSG are possibly the one selling club on earth with absolutely no reason to fold. Nobody's forcing them to fold because they don't need the money in order to facilitate other deals. And a player with 2 years left isn't really a problem this summer. He's a problem next summer. So they can just sit there and say no. And that's what they've been doing so far. One more thing, and I think this is a bit that maybe no one's really talking about too much right now. Nasser El Khelaifi has a good relationship with FSG, and Liverpool and PSG also share a minority stakeholder, the private equity firm Arctos. Now, I want to be careful here because there's no suggestion of anything improper at all, and it's been reported very openly, not trying to hide anything, but two clubs negotiating a 9-figure transfer, having an investor in common is something. And it's a thing that's becoming more common, actually. The ownership map behind modern transfers is so much more tangled and confusing than the back pages will want to make it look, right? So my probability, 45%. Real, but stuck. And here's what I'm watching. Forget the bids. Watch whether PSG go and sign a replacement winger, because a selling club that lines up a successor has decided to sell. That's the tell. If that happens, this number goes up fast. Same if Liverpool's next offer starts with a 1-3. that means that they've sort of blinked and it could be on, right? Then they'll get to the bargaining table. And file this away for the end of the video. PSG are trying to get 150 million for Barcola in the same week they agreed to buy Ferran Torres for about 50, and we'll come back to that. There's also a big question of, should Liverpool be spending this much money for that position? And I don't know that that's the case. I think that they should shore up the defense a little bit more. Rodri next, and this one is perfect for what I'm trying to do with this show. Within a few days, you had two credible outlets reporting the complete opposite. One, Rodri's agreed personal terms with Barcelona. Barca lead the race. The other, Rodri isn't even considering Barcelona. It's Real Madrid or he stays put. Now, two things can't be true in this case, right? And when that happens, I don't think, oh, somebody made a mistake in reporting. Sometimes journalists don't invent this stuff. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they print what they get told. The question is, who chose to tell them what? So let's try and think who benefits here. Rodri's 30. He's in the final year of his contract at Manchester City, and the two biggest clubs in Spain, maybe even the world, both want him, right? If you're him, or more accurately, if you're the people around him, having Madrid want me show up in the Spanish press while you're negotiating with Barcelona costs you absolutely nothing, and it moves the price. But what about the money? City want around 75 million. That plus his wages for Barcelona, that is a massive stretch, which means it doesn't happen unless they sell somebody first. Remember that. We're coming back to it. Footballing wise, it makes sense though. I mean, I'll give Barcelona that. Frankie de Jong's surgery leaves a genuine hole in their midfield, and this is a signing that genuinely makes sense for them, and the timing is real as well. Final year of the deal, City sell now or they lose him for nothing next summer. 55% I'll say on this one, real but a stuck deal. And if Barcelona get a big sale over the line, I'll raise it a little bit higher. I think that he goes to Barcelona or he stays at Man City. Right, so AS Roma, and I want to know what exactly they're cooking over in Rome, because this is interesting. First, Rodrigo Mora at Porto. In 1 week, we got three different numbers: an official 25 million bid, then 45 million plus bonuses, then a loan with an option package totaling 50. Porto's release clause is 70. That's not really three scoops. That's a negotiation being, played out through the papers. Both clubs anchoring in public, hoping the other club will blink or give in first. So whatever number ends up being the real one, most of what you read this week was somebody's opening offer wearing a disguise, right? Mora is a big talent. There were some people who wanted him to be on the World Cup team. He wouldn't have got any playing time anyway, but hey, I give that a 55% chance of happening, real but stuck, but could change very quickly. But then there's another one at Roma. Roma have asked Real Madrid about Endrick on loan. And honestly, this one's kind of the cleanest logic of anything this week. Endrick needs minutes. Madrid need him developed, not sat on a bench quietly losing value. Roma have Champions League football and a guaranteed role pretty much for Endrick, so everybody kind of wins. The only thing stopping it is whether Madrid want to let him go at all. Aston Villa and a few English clubs also were kind of floating around, but that's not the main problem here. What has potentially killed this completely, now you're seeing rumors that Mourinho believes in Endrick and that Endrick will get the number 9 at Real Madrid for this season. So Endrick going to AS Roma, I'll put it at 25%. I think it was a bit of agent magic that has forced Real Madrid to commit to him. But if he has a conversation with Mourinho and feels as though his minutes will be limited, AS Roma will reopen things, I'm sure. Now, here's the bit I actually find interesting. Roma are trying to stack two young, high-ceiling attackers instead of buying one proven one. That is not how Roma usually shop. They buy experience, they buy for now. So either they've properly committed to a younger project under Gasperini, or they're expecting to sell somebody big and they're getting out in front of it. I don't know which one it will be, but that's a change of philosophy, not just a change of who they shop for typically. And it's worth keeping an eye on. And back to Julian Alvarez, because I opened with it and I owe you the actual reasoning, right? Arsenal are essentially out. Arteta isn't moving Gyökeres on, and Alvarez didn't fancy the Premier League anyway. Apparently, he wanted to stay in Spain. Barcelona haven't given up, that's for sure. PSG have been mentioned here and there, but he spent the back end of his holiday following Atletico's fitness program from Ibiza and then reported back to training on schedule with Atletico Madrid. That's a decision with a bit of a cost in his eyes, and nobody pays a cost for a story they're trying to plant, right? When the reporting says one thing and the behavior says another, I would believe the behavior. So I'm giving this one 25%. Agent, distortion, agents trying to make it happen when it's not likely due to Atleti standing their ground, and Barcelona likely not willing to or able to meet their valuation plus wages, etc. And look, I had this a lot higher a couple of weeks ago. The evidence moved, so the number moved. When facts change, opinions change. That's the entire point of doing it this way, right? Keeping that scoreboard of how things have progressed up and down. All right, let's move to On the Brink now. Deals that are nearly done. So it's a different question. It's not, will this happen? It's, what's the one thing still in the way that could be in the way, right? Darwin Nunez to Trabzonspor. Al Hilal have agreed to let him go on loan for the season. And here's a detail that really matters, right? He keeps his full 22 million euro salary, but Trabzonspor only pay 8 of it. Al Hilal cover the other 14, okay? So listen to that back. Al Hilal are paying 14 million euros for a player they bought for 46 million pounds 12 months ago to go play somewhere else, essentially. That's a strange loan. That's a subsidy. I mean, park that one. I'll come back to it in a minute. What's left here, I think, is basically just paperwork, and the player signing off. What kills this? A late bid that lets Al Hilal actually recoup some money instead of just reducing the damage. I give this one 80%. I think it's very, very likely. It's pretty much a given it's going to happen. Now, Ferran Torres to PSG, personal terms agreed, 4-year deal. PSG will pay around 50 million, apparently. Barcelona want around 50 million. There it is. Remember what I said about Barcola? Both sides saying the same number. That's what a deal that's actually going to happen looks like, right? Agreeing. They agree upon it. 11 months left on his contract, and Barcelona reportedly want it sorted before the Gamper Trophy on August 19th. This one seems imminent. It'll happen before that, I think. But hang on a second. Barcelona's top scorer in La Liga last season, and he's the one being sold while they chase a 75 million pound midfielder. Maybe the Alvarez stuff should be taken more seriously than Rodri. For now, I stand with what I said earlier in the video, though. 75% for Ferran. Very likely, not much can kill this. The rumored Gamper Trophy dates just a soft deadline, not really a hard one that can stop this deal from happening. Okay, some done deals. This is the bit I find the most interesting, and it's all stuff that's already done. No speculation, just things that happened. Only one to look at for this edition, however. Ronald Araujo to Liverpool. Season-long loan, 55 million. Option to buy. 2 years ago, Araujo was one of the first names on Barcelona's team sheet. A defender other clubs built their bids around. I mean, he's just left on loan. That's a real fall, and it happened pretty quickly and quietly. And notice that's Barcelona's third outgoing thread this week. Hold that thought. Two things tie this whole episode together in this thread section of the video. One, go back through everything we just covered and look at who is dealing with who. Barcelona are selling Ferran Torres to PSG. Barcelona have sent Araujo to Liverpool, and PSG are trying to sell Barcola to Liverpool. That's 3 clubs in 1 week. Every single deal is between 2 of them. And then follow the money instead of the players here, right? Barcelona are selling their top league scorer to help pay for a midfielder. PSG want 150 million and are replacing him with a 50 million forward. Liverpool are buying at both ends, really. Everything coming in is funded by something going out in real time. Is it disciplined market tactics, or is it 3 enormous clubs running very, very fast just to kind of stand still? I don't know, but you cannot look at those deals separately anymore. And by that, I mean stand still in the market. 2, the money went east and now it's coming back west. Salah left England for Turkey. Nunez looks set to leave Saudi Arabia for Turkey, with his Saudi club paying most of his wages to make it happen. A year ago, Saudi clubs were buying everything that moved. This year, one of them is subsidizing an exit, and Trabzonspor have worked out that one marquee name makes the next one easier. You sign Salah, and then, hey, suddenly Darwin's interested. And I think that some of these quote-unquote bigger names that went to Saudi Arabia that, you know, are sort of in their mid to late-ish 20s, still quality players, but they're getting such a big payday in Saudi Arabia that they aren't ready to take a massive pay cut, might end up in Turkey. I could see a few players making that Saudi to Turkey jump again, as has been happening already, right? So there's the card for this week's transfer rumors, and of course, put your own numbers below. I want to see how far apart we are, and next week, I'll mark my own homework in front of you if there is any movement, any motion. All right, guys, that's it from me. As always, I thank you for watching. It's good to be back, and I'll see you in another video soon. Take care.